Good morning, everyone. So, what was the last topic yesterday? Was this the last topic? Vacating of seats. Okay. So, this is done. Now coming to tenure of MPs. Should we begin now? Okay. So, tenure of MPs in Lok Sabha is 5 years. So actually, tenure of MPs in Lok Sabha depends on the tenure of Lok Sabha. So it is 5 years, but also mention depends on LS tenure. And the tenure of MPs in Rajya Sabha is 6 years, wherein how many retire? 1/3 retire every 2 years. And this is a provision of RPA. Okay, provision of RPA. So section 154 of RPA mentions this fact. Also, oath affirmation, schedule 3, we have seen this already. Then salaries and allowances are decided by Parliament by law. Parliament by law. And allowances are decided by Government of India since 1985. What allowances? Allowances meaning perks. Bungalow, the car, security, etc. These things, allowances, they are decided by the what? The Government of India. And as far as the salary is concerned, salary is revised every 5 years. It is linked to cost inflation index, and every 5 years the salary is revised. But last it was revised in 2018, but it's been more than 5 years now. But we are yet to see a revision in salary. Actually, you know what the problem is, that if you increase the salary of MPs, then people become very upset that MPs are increasing their salary. So MPs also know very well they don't depend on salary anyway. So why to increase the salary? Recently, we saw this news about your state and the salary of employees of your state. Did you get to see the news? How the sweepers are earning 2 lakh. Prepare for the exam. Don't worry. Okay. No need to change your goal of life immediately. The senior sweepers are earning 2 lakh rupees per month. Okay. And some chief engineer, I think, earning 7 lakh and all. So yeah. Anyway, so oath is schedule 3, salary allowance is done, and also yes, members receive pension. Since 2009, they get a pension also, right? So they get a pension as well. Clear? Now coming to the presiding officers and deputy presiding officers. So Lok Sabha, Speaker and Deputy Speaker, Rajya Sabha Chairman and Deputy Chairman. first things first, election. So election by and from amongst members. That's the election, Article 93. Then we have Article 94, which says removal. How are the people removed? By a majority called effective majority. Removed by effective majority. Just shortly we will discuss the types of majorities, don't worry. Effective majority. Also an important point, there is no ground for removal. That is typical, 14 days prior notice. That is standard for every such removal. So 14 days notice is given, but beyond that, no ground. No ground clearly mentioned in the Constitution. Okay, when the Speaker's removal is going on, I think you know very well that Speaker cannot preside, right? So during removal, can't preside. This means he acts as ordinary MP. Just remember this point, that when the Speaker's removal is going on, he acts like an ordinary MP. This means he has all the powers that regular MPs have, meaning sitting in the House, speaking in the House, voting on his removal in the first instance. Otherwise, they can't vote in the first instance. They only vote in case of tie, casting vote. But when they are when the removal is going on, since they're ordinary MPs, they can vote in the first instance. Okay, that's there. One more thing, when it comes to Speaker, as a matter of convention, there is a convention that Speaker should belong to ruling party and Deputy Speaker should belong to opposition party. This convention has been there since 11th Lok Sabha, that was in 1996. Which is the current Lok Sabha? 15th. 18th Lok Sabha. Okay. So this is with respect to the election removal. Also, I think this point should be clear that, you know, whenever the Lok Sabha or the government resigns, Lok Sabha is dissolved, Speaker will not vacate his post immediately. Right? Why? We don't want a vacuum in any top post. So they continue to hold the post. So maybe a star mark somewhere and write, do not resign when LS dissolves. They continue till the new Lok Sabha takes up the role. And then how can you forget this very amazing post of pro tem speaker or speaker pro tem? Pro tem, pro tempore for the time being. The word is pro tempore. So speaker, pro tem speakers, all things are same. Don't panic at all. That's what is mentioned there, reverse. So pro tem speaker means what? Temporary speaker. What is the function that they perform? No, first thing, administer oath to MPs, and second is conduct election to the post of new speaker. And who appoints them? Appointed by President, and also oath by President. This is Speaker pro tem, temporary speaker. Usually the senior most member in the House is made the what? Pro tem speaker. All okay? Okay, enough information. Also remember that the speaker in the Lok Sabha and deputy speaker in the Lok Sabha, they are MPs of the House. Because look at the election process. buy-in from amongst the members. So all these members will choose from amongst themselves one person as a speaker. So of course he has to belong to the house. Okay. Any doubt? No doubt. Should we proceed now? Okay, great. Then deputy speaker, appointment removal same as speaker. One more thing. When it comes to the deputy speaker, their date of election is not fixed. Lok Sabha rules say that election date decided by speaker. So the whole point is that whenever the speaker is not there, who becomes a speaker? Deputy speaker is the acting speaker. And when deputy speaker is not there, then there is a panel of chairpersons, maximum 10 MPs. These people are nominated by the speaker. So there is a hierarchy. They have been numbered, and accordingly, based on who is there, who is not there, the next person can take up the post. Say number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if deputy speaker is not there, she takes up the role. If she is not there, next person. Like this, we have 10 people. Sufficient number of people are there. And if still all 10 are missing, they all bunk, the house can at the exact same point choose someone to take over the session for the or sitting for the day. Are you clear? Okay. Chairperson of Rajya Sabha, we know very well, VP is a ex officio chairperson for Rajya Sabha, Article 64, and exact same functions except money bills and joint sittings. Who presides over joint sittings? Of course, the speaker presides over the joint sittings of the house. Oh, great. Any doubt? Here also we have below him what? Deputy chairperson, and below him panel of vice chairperson. So small point here, actually, though it's not, I'm sure not required for the exam, we only have 6 vice chairperson seats officially in the Rajya Sabha rules, but they appoint 8-10 people. Right now they have 8 people, I think, but officially here 6 MPs are a part of the panel, or 6 seats are there. Again, same thing, nominated by who? Chairperson. This is the situation. Yes, done? Great. Then voting in the parliament. So first condition is that voting requires quorum. Without quorum, no voting. Article 100. Then voting will be through a formal process, which is through either ballot paper or through automated vote recorder, the voting machine, or it could be informal. What is informal? Voice vote. In fact, informal voting is the name of the game there. Okay. 90% cases informal voting. Types of majorities, 3 types. Number 1, absolute. What is absolute? More than 50% of total strength or membership of the house is called absolute majority. Okay. Only one place to use it. And what is that place? Formation of government. No other place. Then the second is effective majority. This is what we are constantly discussing. So effective majority means what? You take the total strength, check at that point of time how many seats are vacant. Let's say total strength in Lok Sabha is how much? 543. Now if 13 MPs were going in a bus in Goa and the bus crashes, all 13 MPs die. What happens? 13 seats become vacant. Let's say vacancy is 13. Effective strength would become total strength minus vacancy. So we have to calculate 50% of this. That becomes effective strength. In the constitution, they don't use the word effective strength. They use the word all the then members. All the then members. Effective strength is used for removal of VP in the Rajya Sabha and removal of all other presiding and deputy presiding officers in their respective houses. Center, state, every presiding and deputy presiding officer is removed through effective majority only. Clear? And then the most basic, which is the simple majority. How many people came on that day? Say 200. More than half say yes, task is over. That is what is basic majority. Oh, sorry, simple majority. In the constitution, they don't use the word simple majority. They use a different word. And what is that word? By law. So you can mention there in the bracket, by law. So whenever you read the phrase by law, you know very well we are referring to simple majority. Meaning more than half of the people who are present on that day and are voting. 3 options to vote. Yes. What are the 3 options? Yes. No. Abstain. Okay. 3 options. Anyway, simple majority has largest application. All these places. What you can do is learn the other things. Forget this. So whatever remains is simple majority. Are you clear? So learn all other special cases of different majorities, and whatever remains will be always a simple majority. Please understand that ordinary bills, money bills, financial bills all require what? No confidence motion, trust vote, censure motion require what? Formation of government after elections requires absolute, but consistent majority, that is trust vote or NCM, requires a simple majority. That's a point of difference. Okay. After election, you should have the majority in the Lok Sabha, but at any point of time, if somebody brings an NCM or a trust vote, then you just need what? Simple majority. Okay, great. So let's move on now to some special majorities. Special majority normally means what? More than 50%. Special means something different. So special is at least or not less than, not 1/3, 2/3. At least 2/3. It might change depending on circumstance, which I'll explain to you shortly. So for example, Article 61, what is that? Now, impeachment does what requires what? 2/3 of total membership, not present and voting. So that is why. So you can just mention here impeachment. Two-third total membership or total strength. Then we have Article 368, which is something we have seen already. What is that? Amendment. Okay, great. Which part? Part 20. And what is the majority? 2/3 present and voting, more than 50% total membership or total strength. This is a combination majority required. And of course, we have two special articles, 249 and 312, which require what? These are special powers of Rajya Sabha and 2/3 present and voting. That is what is required. Okay. 2/3 present and voting. Done. Then we have special provisions, Article 249 and. Should we proceed from here? Special provision, Article 249, 312. What is that? You know very well that if it is expedient or urgent in national interest, you can write that point here at the bottom. It will be easy. If it is expedient or urgent in national interest, then RS can authorize Parliament to, and this authorization comes through 2/3 present and voting. Once this happens, we have two special things. Done. Should we proceed? So what happens is, if it is urgent in national interest, then Rajya can authorize the Parliament to, number one, put an arrow there and draw like this. To do what? Two we have mentioned already. Make laws on state list subjects. So making law is not mandatory. Okay. This is optional. You may, you may not. And this authorization is valid for how many years? Valid for 1 year. But it can be extended. Okay. Number 3. Extension allowed. Now all the laws made they will cease to operate. When will they cease to operate? Oh, why is it silence today? What happened? Oh, these are new topics. Cease to operate when? When there is no Rajya Sabha. If a law is made by Rajya Sabha, by the Parliament on these topics, will the laws continue forever? No. Then what is the expiry date? 6 months? 6 weeks? Ordinance? 6 months, 6 weeks is ordinance. Where is the confusion? Don't create unique provisions. Please follow Constitution, sir. We would love to have that. Very simple. 6 months after end of authorization. Authorization for 1 year period. After that, 6 more months the law can continue. Okay. So laws made, they cease to operate 6 months after end of authorization. Okay, so what is the date today? 2702. Today authorization was given. It continues till 2602/27. 1 year. If you make any kind of law here, any day, law 1, law 2, law 3, it does not matter. All these laws will end 6 months, that is 25/8/27. All these laws will end here on this date. Is the point clear? Okay, great. And for Article 312, same thing. Create a new All India Service. So nothing but example, you have this All India Service Act of 1951. You amend this law and create a new All India Service. Currently we have IAS, IPS and Indian Forest Service since 1966. Okay, just give me a moment please. Okay, let's continue. So this was the special provisions. Now moving on, types of bills in the Parliament based on introduction. Public, and private member. Here, intro by Minister and prior notice of 7 days. Here, intro by non-minister. Then, prior notice 30 days. Maximum 3 per 3 bills per MP per session. In one session, MP can give notice for only 3 bills. And they are discussed every Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. Based on content. Constitutional amendment and financial bills, of which you have FB type 1, FB type 2 and money bills. All money bills are financial bills. Yes or no? All financial bills are money bills. Oh, no. Okay, if you say so. Should we proceed? All done? Great. Now, It was mentioned there. Is it there? Why did you not ask me that it is already written? Just wasted my time. Anyway, I think we don't need to explain the passage and all, right? Bill passed by Lok Sabha goes to Rajya Sabha, or Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, one house, second house, then second house can make modifications. If they are not accepted, then what happens? Deadlock, or no action is taken for 6 months. Oh, it seems like, oh, your parliament topic is very weak. I think schedule topic was very strong. Large topic, I understand. Parliament is a very easy topic. The problem is it has too much of information, and especially different type of information. So this topic requires more revisions. First house, pass. Second house, pass, goes to president. Modify plus accepted by first house goes to president. Modify plus not accepted by first house or no action for 6 months. This creates what we know as a deadlock. And to resolve, what do we have? President may call for joint sitting. Okay. Should we proceed now? Or there is beautiful diagram. Okay, average diagram, please. What are we drawing? Should we move on from this? Okay, some of them are drawing. Shading, coloring later. Rough drawing. Anyway, if you sell these notes in the market, it has my name in it. So how will you become popular? Once you clear the exam, write them properly in separate A4 sheet, nicely. Okay, and then sell them as your main notes in the exam. Then popularity. No, some good books, not good, some books were earlier notes only of coaching institutes. There is a book by Nitin Singhania, I think. What is economy? Oh, he started a fun book also. Oh, art and culture. That is where he started that. So it was actually originally class notes, printed out notes. So on the cover it was Nitin Singhania AIR 51, and very basic generic information was there inside. But it became popular because at that point of time, art and culture was new in the syllabus. People did not know exactly where to read, what to read. And NCERT fine arts book is slightly complicated. So it's very important, but complicated. So, and that's how it became popular. So I think he made full use of it and then made it into a book only. Oh, now economy also. Next will be polity also, possibly. Okay. Joint sitting, which article, please tell me? 108. Which country have we drawn inspiration from? Australia. Great. President calls for joint sitting. Again, I'm reminding you, this is not a mandatory provision. President may call for a joint sitting. I think the language here should be clear to you. Okay. President may call for a joint sitting. That is why I keep on saying read the constitution, but nobody does. So, you know, these words may, shall, etc. they have a specific meaning. May means optional. Shall means mandatory. Anyway, so May or may not. Who presides over? Rules of Lok Sabha voting. Only 3 examples so far. That's it. Done? Dowry prohibition. What the hell is? Sorry. Dowry prohibition, Banking Services Commission, and POTA, the favorite bill of the people. POTA. TADA, POTA. These are amazing laws. You know TADA? Terrorist and Disruptive Activities Act. You know this very famous actor Sanjay Dutt, who was recently in the mind-boggling movie Rajya also, I think. Was he there? Anyway, so he was arrested at TADA only for hiding AK-47 weapon in his house. But he's a very nice fellow, because in one movie Sanju, they have showed how nice he is. So, whitewashing image. Joint sitting, done. Next is money bills. See, the procedure for money bill is slightly different. I think we know the procedure for passage of bills, but money bill is slightly different. Why? Because normally bills can be introduced in any house. Ordinary bills. Money bills only in Lok Sabha. And you also need the prior recommendation of President. Now, the third point is, please read what is mentioned there. Please mention convention. This is just a convention. Nowhere is it mentioned that money bill should be introduced by a minister only. Okay, it can be introduced by non-minister also. Then money bill is sent to Rajya Sabha. Speaker endorses the bill as money bill. But you know very well that this can be challenged in the Supreme Court. I mean, everything can be challenged in the Supreme Court actually. Now, Rajya Sabha cannot make modifications. It can only suggest changes. It has to pass the bill within, or else what happens? Deemed to be passed. People will come and snatch the bill and go away from there. So 14 days, like in your exam hall, when you're writing the answer, bell is over, paper has to be snatched, because suddenly when the bell rings, then you start writing answers. So of course. Then finally, it goes to President, who cannot do what? Meaning, suspensive veto can't be used. There is a lot of confusion here in the minds of innocent people that can we use pocket veto or not? Can we use absolute or not? Nothing is mentioned in the Constitution. Forget Lakshmikant. Actually, Constitution is slightly more important, than Lakshmikant. So, Lakshmikant, I think, has made an observation that because such bills are brought by ministers, that is why would the, introduced on the recommendation of President, that is why would the President not sign? Okay, that's the logic, which is fair. But if the question is, can pocket veto be used? Of course it can be used. Can an absolute veto be used? Of course it can be used. What cannot be used is suspensive veto, very clearly mentioned in the Constitution. Other things may be used. Will it be used? Of course not. But the point is, can it be used? Suspensive cannot be used. Okay. Definition of money bill. Which article has definition? 110. Any kind of tax, any kind of borrowing, any kind of putting money into CFI or contingency fund, taking money, appropriating money out of CFI, charge expenditure, audit of money that goes into CFI and public accounts. Just underline the ones I have tick marked. That will be important to remember once you just have a cursory glance at these key things. Tax, borrowing, CFI, contingency fund, then taking money out of CFI, appropriation, you can put an arrow like this, appropriation, then charge expenditure, audit in CFI and public account. Money can be taken out of public account without parliamentary approval. Yes? Okay, if you say so. Done? Then we have these two bogus bills, Financial Bill 1 and 2. Financial Bill 1, only one criteria, introduced only in Lok Sabha with the recommendation of President. That's it. Otherwise, no special provisions. This bill is a regular bill. Nothing special here. When it is sent to Rajya Sabha can modify it. We can have joint sitting. All this drama is possible. When I say equal powers in all other aspects, example, modification. Modification is allowed. Then joint sitting is allowed, possible, all things the same. Clear? Then we have type 2 financial bills. Again, explanation of all these not required. In case you want to know, the simplest way to explain financial bill type 1 is a combination of ordinary bill and a money bill is called a type 1 financial bill. Easiest way to explain it. Okay. And for financial bill type 2, simplest way to explain is that whenever you want to spend money urgently, it comes from where? Contingency fund. Now let's say contingency fund currently has how much money? 30,000 crores. You spend 200 crores from it on something. Okay. Now this is short by 200 crores. You have to bring a bill to refurbish that. From where? Of course, from CFI, not from Adani's account, but from CFI. Now there is a bill that has to be brought, which will just put money into, or which will just approve this expenditure. This expenditure is done. Clear? It is done now, and you have to debit CFI and bring this money here, because money has been spent already. We're just changing the account of the money. So the bill that contains this information that government has spent this 200 crore rupees on something urgent, because you know very well, contingency fund expenditure is done and then approval is required. Approval or authorization post expenditure. This kind of bill is actually a type 2 financial bill. Are you clear? That's the simplest way to explain it. There are other examples also, like increasing number of judges. That law, which is called Supreme Court Number of Judges Act, if you want to increase number of judges, that bill does not have any impact on expenditure when the bill is passed. But ultimately, when you hire more judges, you have to pay salary and all. That kind of bill is also called a financial bill type 2. But anyway, nothing special here. This bill, introduction, either house, prior recommendation, not required, passage, equal. There is a small condition, put a star mark below and write this condition. Second reading requires President's permission. Second reading. What is second reading? What is first reading? Introduction. Second reading. Discussion. Third reading. Voting. 3 stages. You know stages, we actually call it reading. The first stage is intro. Second stage is discussion. Third stage is voting. So please write. Second reading requires President's permission. Done. Second reading requires President's permission. Okay, great. Then, position of bill with respect to dissolution of Lok Sabha. When the Lok Sabha is dissolved, what happens to bills? All bills pending in the Lok Sabha will dissolve or lapse. When the Lok Sabha leaves, they throw all the bills in dustbin and run away from there with full speed. Also, if a bill was passed by Lok Sabha and pending in Rajya Sabha, that also lapses. Okay? Think about this. Any bill that the Lok Sabha has seen with its dirty eyes, it will lapse if it is not passed by Rajya Sabha. Once the bill is passed by Rajya Sabha also, it goes to President, then it won't lapse. Or maybe a joint sitting is called, won't lapse. Or one very small condition, if a bill is introduced in Rajya Sabha and is pending there only, then it won't lapse. So the lapse condition, 2 conditions. all pending bills in Lok Sabha lapse. All pending bills in Rajya Sabha which were passed by Lok Sabha or which have come from Lok Sabha, they will lapse. Clear? If the bill is still lying in the Lok Sabha, whether initiated there or sent across by Rajya Sabha, in both cases they will lapse. If the Lok Sabha has passed the bill but the Rajya Sabha has not yet acted on it, will also lapse. In all other cases, it does not lapse. Done? Okay. Bills will lapse only on dissolution. Dissolution, what the hell is this word now? Unique word suddenly. What is dissolution? Ending the tenure of Lok Sabha. Then when the session ends, what's the term for it? Prorogation. Prorog means to end the term. If end the session. If a session ends, then what happens to pending bills? Nothing happens. The bills are there only. It's like a mid-sem exam. You don't throw your notes away in the mid-sem exam. You keep it, right? You try to throw it away after end sem when you tear the notes away or try to sell to a junior to misguide him also. Okay. Then some parliamentary proceedings like question hour. We have two types of questions primarily, starred and unstarred questions. Starred questions, verbal answer, and you can also ask supplementary questions. How many starred questions per day? Maximum 20 per day. Not more than that. How many unstarred questions? Maximum 230 per day. Okay. We actually also allow, if any state is under President's rule, then we allow that also. For that state, you can ask up to 25 questions. Or all the states which are under PR. PR meaning, oh, amazing, very good, President's rule states. So that's there. Done? All okay? See, start questions, you can ask as many supplementary questions as possible. Anybody can ask. Let's say somebody asks me a question. Questioner, I'm not a minister, but example, you're not an MP also. So now if she has asked me a question, it does not mean that only she can ask me supplementary questions. Anybody in the class can ask. And you can keep on asking supplementary questions. There is no limit at all. Clear? The small change is in short notice question. If you ask me a short notice question, then only 2 supplementary questions can be asked. Again, by entire class, entire Lok Sabha. Are we clear? This is never used. See, that problem is start questions require minimum 15 days of notice. Same goes for unstarred also. Minimum 15 days. Ministers can go home, prepare answer, etc., mug it up properly. But, sorry, they won't prepare the answer. Who prepares the answer? You. What are you doing then? Civil servant will prepare the answer. Imagine a situation. Right now you are writing answer writing. Suddenly your answers are being read by minister. Improvement of status in life. Motivation. That is why it is important to write good answers. Because if your answer is read and something wrong has happened, you give wrong fact to minister. Transfer immediately. Because it is an embarrassment for minister. Because he is going to read your answer in the house. He is taking full ownership of the answer. So please double cross check. Okay, so done. Short notice, maximum 10 days. And that is why this is called a dead letter. Dead letter means a provision that is rarely used, like politician's brain. So, same way, this is a short notice question. Never used. Done. Questions are chosen based on lottery system. Draw of lots. Then we have 0R. Please remember, 0R is not mentioned anywhere. That's the important point. There are two Indian innovations to parliamentary system. One is 0R, other is two Indian contributions to the parliamentary proceedings. 0R, yes, we said 0R. Something, second one, please. Calling attention motion. Okay, calling attention is actually mentioned in the Lok Sabha rules, but 0R is not mentioned anywhere. That's the point of difference. Are we clear? It is just a matter of practice. When the question hour ends, then before lunch, the time in between that is called 0R. So it's not mentioned anywhere. Started since 1962. You can raise matters without prior notice. So when I say without prior notice, it actually means same day notice. Same day notice. Before 10 a.m., please give notice. You can't randomly ask questions to the minister. You know, MPs are crazy people. We have to check what question they are asking, because decorum of house is very important. Otherwise, they'll start asking personal questions. If the minister's response in question hour is not good, he has lied, or the question was asking something else, minister is responding something else, like UPSC aspirant. Answer writing. Question asks something, you answer something else. Same way. Then MP can raise a concern that I was asking something, this school is not replying properly. I want a better answer. Within 3 days, raise a concern. If the presiding officer accepts your valid point, then they can force the minister to respond again within 3 days. That is called half an hour discussion. 3 days in a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's called half an hour discussion because it takes place in the last half an hour, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Again, dead letter, never used. Then we have motions. One simple point about motions is that they are not mentioned in Constitution, only in the Lok Sabha/Rajya Sabha rules. So motions are proposals before the House. Some motions are formal motions. When I say formal motion, it means what? It is written and it is always followed by voting on the proposal. And these things are actually called resolution. Resolution. For example, if you have to remove the president, impeachment, they will not mention raise up motion. They will say resolution. Because you have to give in writing. What's the reason? How did you feel that the president has done what? How can you remove him? For doing what? Violation of constitution. So you have to mention that. How do you feel that he or she has violated the constitution? Then signature of how many MPs? 1/4 MPs. Okay. And prior notice of 14 days. Okay. Then these specific motions. Do one thing. There are these specific motions, right? Some of them can be brought only in the Lok Sabha. Then trust vote. Yes or no? Motion of thanks? No. Both houses. You have to table this in both houses. Adjournment. Lok Sabha. Privilege. Any house, because any MP can go crazy. Calling attention. Censure. Lok Sabha. Censure motion. Lok Sabha only. Because voting takes place on this. You are criticizing the minister. This means ministers are accountable to which house? Lok Sabha. Council of Ministers are accountable to Lok Sabha. Don't forget this article, very important crux of parliamentary democracy. But they are still accountable to Lok Sabha only. They can call him here. No problem. Article 88. Come, sit, speak, all that. We have all ways to harass the minister. And yet they are corrupt. That's the point. That's the point of bureaucracy also. Have you seen the number of laws that we have to prevent corruption? And the bodies, ED, CBI, ACBs, Judiciary, CVC, Lokpal, right? Benami Property Acts and all. So many laws are there. So many bodies are there. Still somehow people manage to be corrupt. It's a skill set, right? There is a very famous statement by a Roman war general and a historian, Tacitus. He says that more numerous the laws, more corrupt the state. An example of a corrupt state is it has more laws to prevent corruption. That's a classic case in India also. Multiple laws, more corruption. What is India's rank in corruption index right now? Okay. Don't feel bad. Let's come in. NCM, Rule 198. Introduction, which house? Once every session. You can't bring it every day. How many MPs? No ground is needed for raising this motion. It can be introduced against the whole government only, not against individual ministers. If it is passed, the government has to resign. Ideally, it is not mentioned anywhere. But no, if you don't resign, then the president can use the discretion and dismiss the government. Because you know very well, government must have confidence. If no, then we can dismiss them. NCM has never been passed so far. Coming to trust vote, exact opposite of NCM, it is introduced by ruling party only in the Lok Sabha. See, if NCM is passed, then government has to resign. If trust vote fails, then government has to resign. Clear? This point is important. If NCM is passed, meaning opposition is successful. If trust vote is passed, government is successful. So NCM must be passed and trust vote must fail. Like the very famous case of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He lost the trust vote by how many votes? 1 vote. So this shows lack of political acumen actually. Nobody fails trust vote by 1 vote. Should we proceed now? Other things? Okay. Adjournment motion. Which house? At least 50 MPs. See, very important, you cannot randomly raise issues in adjournment motion because it should have the responsibility of Government of India. Okay. You can't raise a motion, next motion, that what will happen in India-West Indies match? What if India loses? Will it be out of the World Cup in its own country or not? You can't raise these kind of following the World Cup? No, oh, no cricket fans here. Oh, okay, relax. So that's the whole point. Government's responsibility. Clear? So this is in Lok Sabha only, but the same thing can be done in Rajya Sabha also. But in Rajya Sabha, we don't have anything called adjournment motion. We have a different tool, no name. In Rajya Sabha, we have a tool called Rule 267. The condition is any MP can give notice. What does it mean? Adjournment motion. From 2 to 6 p.m. the bills are being discussed properly. It is all aligned that from today we'll be discussing these 5 bills from 2 to 6 p.m. So if you raise this motion and it is accepted in the Lok Sabha, then what happens? The entire agenda for the day is stopped and then we discuss on that topic. So what was the plan gets postponed. Clear? That is adjournment motion. Rajya Sabha rule 267 is similar, but for adjournment motion, how many MPs are required? 50. And in Rajya Sabha, if you raise a similar motion, then how many MPs? 1 MP is sufficient. Then come to motion of thanks. You know very well that President gives a speech. Oh, President's speech. Which day? First day of every year. That is the budget session. And also one more. After the Lok Sabha elections, first day of the new Lok Sabha. Motion of thanks must be passed by Lok Sabha. It is mandatory. You can modify it and all, but it has to be passed by Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha may not pass it. No problem. We don't care about Rajya Sabha. It must be passed by Lok Sabha. If it is not passed, amounts to no confidence. But again, as we know very well, it will be passed by ruling party majority in the Lok Sabha. Why will they not pass it? Should we proceed? Then one useless kind of motion is calling attention motion. This point is important. That's why we are discussing it also. Otherwise, what is the point of this? You can just actually raise a concern in the house. If you want the minister to respond to certain issue or concern of his own department, you raise a motion and the minister will respond to you. That's it. Nothing beyond that. Then we have privilege motion. If you know parliamentary privilege, right? MPs have some benefits and privileges. If any MP has breached the privilege, so see, you have the freedom to speak in the house, talk nonsense constantly, and no court case can be filed against you for whatever you say in the house. But as per Lok Sabha rules, there are certain limitations. For example, you can't, as per the constitution, you cannot discuss the conduct of judges. Okay, you can't read from unverified source. You cannot show placards and posters. You can't speak unparliamentary words. So if you do all these things, it is considered breach of privilege. Okay, you have breached the benefit given to you. Clear? So in that case, some MP can raise a proposal against you that this fellow has breached the privilege. Then the speaker will or the chairperson will take that proposal and forward it to a privilege committee. That committee will go through your entire issue, what you said, what was the context, etc. And if the committee finds that to be true, that yes, this fellow has actually disregarded and lowered the dignity of the house, then they will give a recommendation based on which the presiding officer can remove you. Clear? So voting will take place on that, of course. So punishments can range from suspension for a few days to expulsion also. You can be disqualified as well, thrown out of the house. That can also happen. Done? Okay. Lastly, we have censure motion. Only Lok Sabha. It can be introduced against single minister or entire government. NCM against entire government only, but censure both. No, both. Single also, entire government also. NCM, no reason required. Why do you want to bring NCM? Why do you want to check? It came in my dreams yesterday that government has lost majority. I am bringing NCM. But for censure motion, you have to mention why you feel you want to. Because censure means reprimand, to scold. Why do you want to scold the minister? There should be some reason for poor performance. You have to mention that reason. That is called censure. If passed, it amounts to severe reprimand. Scolding happens. And not that we are scolding him and all. Okay. Just make him stand in front of the house, kneel down. We are throwing stones and hitting him with sticks. Nothing happens. If it is passed, it is assumed that the house has scolded you. Clear? For poor performance. That's it. Bogus motion. Completely bogus. Because politicians are thick-skinned people. You keep on saying things about them. It does not matter to them. Until unless they lose the seat. Look at your life also. Same thing. Parents have been scolding for so long. Did it change you? Thrashing works immediately. So that's why as a kid you had to study because fear of thrashing. Now parents don't beat their kids. I hope you know this. Because scolding a kid can cause trauma to the kid. These kids should meet us then in our childhood days, where proper thrashing used to happen. Parents also, teachers. Now teachers can't beat the kids. In fact, why should I name any school? So I just came to know that in a situation, there was this, teachers are pressurized to pass the kids, not to fail them. Logic is the parents are paying so much of fees. How can you fail the student? So in that case, one teacher said, what could I do? I had to pass the kid. And the problem was, if the kid fails, you have to take a re-exam. You keep on taking re-exam till the kid passes. So teacher finally gave all the 80 marks questions to the student in different form. That mug up these things. And that student came, wrote the answer and passed the paper. Everybody is happy. But you can't scold the student. You can't slap them, scold them, right? Because it can scar them for life. Okay, it can cause trauma. So now corporal punishment is strictly banned in school. This is it's a good thing, of course. We should not use students and kids as scapegoats. That you are angry with your spouse, come and beat the kid badly in the school, take out the anger. That's also not true. But this kind of behavior, what is it teaching the kid? How the world is not like this. The world outside is very, very cruel. That is why there is a very old experiment conducted. A lot of 30 families, they were targeted and they were told, don't scold your kid at all. Those kids were never stopped from doing anything. They were never scolded the entire childhood period. By the age of 20, most kids end up in depression. By age of 30, most of those family kids committed suicide. Because they did not know the boundaries. They did not understand that they're doing something wrong. They found the world outside to be very cruel because the world was not fair. They could not handle this much of pressure. That is why we can handle pressure outside, right? Because of our traumatizing childhood. Okay, come back here now. Censure motion. Passed which house? Lok Sabha. So please don't forget this point actually. Just go through this every time you revise. Important. Though there's a lot of scope to ask questions from here, but UPSC somehow has not asked too many questions. Resolutions, not important. We know very well formal proposals required raised in the parliament. If a non-minister brings a resolution, it is called what? If the government brings it, minister. And any resolution mentioned in the constitution. Give me an example. Yes. Or maybe. Yes. What is the 67B? Removal of vice president. Okay, done. Then budget. Bahi khata. Who prepares it? Quickly. Budget division. DEA. MOF. Department of Economic Affairs. Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance. Presented by who? FM. On behalf of President. You know very well, President's permission is also required. On which day? First working day of February. What time? 11 a.m. Now earlier it was 5 o'clock, so now 11 a.m. Earlier meaning till 1998. Okay, this is the budget. First stage, tell me. Introduction, meaning presentation. In which house? In Lok Sabha. Then we have the discussion. Discussion starts with something called a general discussion. This happens in both houses. And also during this phase, charged expenditure is discussed. I hope you're aware that charge expenditure can be discussed. You can't vote on it, but you can discuss it. Then in the same discussion phase, you also have a committee stage, right? Where the budget is sent to 24 DRSs, departmentally related standing committees. Clear? And then these committees will prepare what? Reports. In the same discussion stage, you have voting on the demand for grants. Here, this happens in Lok Sabha. Here only you have all these cut motions. Remember? Economy cut motion, reducing expenditure. Then token cut motion. How much money is reduced? 100 rupees. Just symbolic in nature. One more. Disapproval of policy cut motion. Entire budget demand is brought to how much? 1 rupee. So cut motions are raised. Once this is done, then the third reading, which is voting. So you bring a bill which is called appropriation bill. Yes, it contains two things. All the demand for grants plus what else? Charge expenditure. This is brought together as an appropriation bill. This bill in Lok Sabha, introduced in Lok Sabha, and this bill can't be what? Modified. Why can't you modify it? It contains charge expenditure. Okay. Then second voting takes place on finance bill. What is this? Tax proposal. Again introduced in which house? In Lok Sabha. This can be modified. Done. 6 stages in total: presentation, general discussion, committee stage, demand for grants, appropriation bill, finance bill. This is appropriation, this is finance. What else? Any other term that you need to know? I hope these things make sense. Not too alien. Greek, Latin, no? Okay. Should we proceed now? Then these terms. Vote on account. What is that? 2 months expenditure given in advance. If the budget passage gets delayed, then we have to give advance money. What if budget is not passed by the end of March? Then problem. So during the general discussion phase only, advance money is given for 2 months to run the country. That is called vote on account, which is different from vote of credit. Vote of credit is urgent expenditure, which comes out of which account? Contingency fund. Okay. Temporary permission is vote on account for 2 months, and sudden expenditure is vote off credit. Okay, supplementary grant. Whenever whenever money is given for a scheme or program, it is consumed before end of year, we have to get extra money. That is called supplementary grant. Let's say 1000 crore rupees were allocated for some kind of scheme or program, but that got over by end of December only. We still have 3 months to go. We need more money. So we take money from CFI, and that grant is called supplementary grant. Then additional grant. If you want to launch a new scheme or program during the year, that is called additional grant. Let's say today you want to launch a new scheme, free money yojana, or some kind of, Rahul Gandhi's Takatak scheme, Takatak. No? Takatak yojana, Rahul Gandhi. In 2024, he said that 1 lakh rupees will be given to every person. 1 lakh every year, if his party comes to power. From where will they get the money? That he did not tell us. 8,500 rupees per month to almost 80% Indians. How is it possible? Right? So something like a universal basic income. That is where he made a statement that you will sit in your house every month, March, April, May, June, money keeps on coming in your account. Takatak, takatak, takatak. So that is how it became Takatak Yojana. You can search for that video. You'll get to know. Anyway, so that is additional grant. If you want to launch a new scheme or program during the year, additional grant. If you overspend on a scheme or program, then the approval is required after you spend the money. That is called excess grant. Let's say you are given 200 crores to spend on a project, but by the end of the project you realize that you have spent 220 crore rupees. Now money has been spent already. Okay, you have spent 20 crores extra. You have to get it approved. So this approval of 20 crores extra is called excess grant. You have to take that out from CFI. Are you clear? And lastly, reappropriation. See, you cannot spend money on any random scheme or program. In the budget, you have been allocated money for specific purpose only. You can use the money for that purpose only. You can't use it anywhere else randomly. If you want to use that money for something else, you please consult the parliament. Okay? If you are given 50 crore rupees to spend on some scheme A, you want to spend this money on scheme B now, you have to bring a proposal in the parliament, a 1 rupee proposal, saying that we don't want money we have sanctioned for scheme A. We just want you, the parliament, to allow me to spend this money for scheme B. Reappropriate. I have withdrawn this amount. Appropriate means to withdraw. I have appropriated this amount for scheme A, but I don't want to start scheme A. I want to start scheme B. So I want to again withdraw the amount for scheme B, not A. So this is called reappropriation. Clear? No doubt? Okay. Then interim budget. You know very well interim budget. Budget brought during election year is called interim budget. Yes, it's a full budget. It has both receipt and expenditure, but only for a few months. Why for a few months? Because after election, a new party can come to power. So new party should bring their own budget. Why should the old budget be forced upon the new party? Clear? That is called interim budget. These are just guidelines. Okay? It is not mentioned anywhere. Just guidelines. Like guideline is to revise daily, write answers daily for aspirant. Do you do it? Yes? Really? Oh, that's a surprise. Okay, sometimes things are surprising. So guidelines: don't launch new schemes or programs, don't make tax modifications. Why? Election, it will manipulate the voter uselessly. You know how we are suckers for free money. If there is something for 900 rupees, we won't purchase it. Useless. But if it's something for 10,000 rupees with a 90% discount, then we'll purchase it. So we love discounts, freebies, free stuff. So voters can very easily be manipulated. That is why we should not have this. Okay. Though again, as I said, it is not mentioned anywhere, but as a matter of practice. Done. Leader of the House. Very simple funda. PM is the leader of that house of which he is a member, and in the other house what happens? Any senior minister nominated by who? PM. So you have to be in PM's good books, and you are nominated the what? Leader of that house. Like currently JP Nadda, the man who never fought any election in his life, is the leader of Rajya Sabha. Don't consider council and Rajya Sabha election as election. These are given by your party. Election means panchayat, municipality, Vidhan Sabha or Lok Sabha. That is actually election. This is just bogus. Your party supports you and you win. Right now we'll have election for Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, I think 37 seats. And the real fun is in Maharashtra. Because in Maharashtra, because of the recent elections, what has happened? Who votes in the Rajya Sabha election? MLAs of the state. So recently what happened in Maharashtra? Elections happened. BJP has thumping majority there. All the other parties have very less seats. So we'll see how they manage to get a seat. Because Sharad Pawar also wants to come to Rajya Sabha. Uddhav Thackeray also wants to come to Rajya Sabha. But all these parties, these three parties, NCP, Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray ji, and Congress, they can only manage one seat together in Rajya Sabha. Because their MLAs are very less. I think 20 for Uddhav Thackeray, 16 for Congress and 10 for, MLAs are very less. So they can only manage one seat in Rajya Sabha. Let's see who gets that seat. Anyway, LOP, this is a slightly important post. One major criteria, a major confusion. LOP is a statutory post. It is not a constitutional post. They are making this statement too much in the media. Like fools. You don't forget and don't be confused. It's a statutory post. But yes, LOP has the same status as a cabinet minister. So we call it cabinet minister rank. So Rahul Gandhi, Raga, has the same rank as a cabinet minister. Are you clear? Who appoints them? Of course, the presiding officer. There are two conditions. One is he should be the leader of the party in the opposition with the greatest numerical strength. In the opposition, there could be multiple parties, but whichever party has the highest strength, that party is given the tag of opposition, main opposition party, and they can choose their leader. Clear? But one more criteria is called Mavlankar rule, given by our first speaker, G.V. Mavlankar. And what is that? You should also get 10% of the total, what? Seats. 10% of total seats. That is important. This means in the Lok Sabha, you should have how many seats? In the Rajya Sabha, 25. 245, 10%, 24.5, which is 25. Are we clear? LOP in the Rajya Sabha is Mallikarjun Kharge. Mallikarjun Kharge ji is from your state only. He lost his life. His ancestors, they were killed in the Razakar violence. But he supports them now. So anything for politics, actually. That's the beauty of politics. That people will support voter bank, anything for voter bank now. For example, Samajwadi Party, Akhilesh Yadav, known to be a toti chore. You know what is toti? So in UP's local language, they call tap as toti. So basically, when he left the CM's bungalow, he took all the taps from there because he said he had put them there when he had come. All the taps, shower installation, he took it home. So anyway, his vote bank right now is the Yadav Muslim combination. He's trying to also add in scheduled caste there. That might not work because in UP, maximum cases of atrocities against SCs are registered against OBCs. Okay, not against Brahmins actually. That's a unique problem. So recently, he and his wife had gone to a place of worship, wearing a normal dress, but then the Maulviji Imam there was very angry and he made some blasphemous remark about how shoddily dressed his wife is, made personal attack on his wife. So what did Akhilesh Yadav do? Nothing, ignored it. Because vote bank problem. That's the beauty. Ignore your family, no respect for your family, as long as vote bank is happy. So for politicians, only one thing matters, vote bank. And I think it has been said by various politicians. Didi has said the same thing. I am willing to get kicked by my voters. Didi's statement publicly, I am willing to get kicked by the Muslims as long as they vote for me. This is how manipulation happens in the country. Now it is blatant completely. The UGC regulation that was made by BJP was a blatant rule to get OBC votes and SC/ST votes, because BJP is still not getting all the SC/ST votes, because that legacy is there of upper caste party. So a lot of these local parties like BSP and all, they are getting SC votes. BJP wants those SC votes. That's why UGC regulation happened. Anyway, that's all politics, it's politics. So let's ignore that. Parliamentary privilege. Special immunities or concessions given to legislators. Collective privilege, you can go through that. I just explain, hear me out. So you have a right to publish reports. You can exclude strangers from proceedings. You can punish outsiders. Whenever any member is arrested, you have to inform the House. This will work for you also. Once you are an IPS officer in future, if you are, right? No, based on your studies, I think some of you might clear the exam. And you become an IPS officer. And what if you develop the courage to arrest an MP, right? Then you have to inform the House immediately. If you arrest an MP, sitting MP, if you detain a sitting MP, meaning take them to the police lockup, etc., you must inform the House immediately. It is mandatory. Or else a disciplinary proceeding can be initiated against you. Are you clear? This is mentioned in the arrest rules. Okay. Then the courts are prohibited from inquiring into the proceedings of the House or its committees. This is a constitutional provision. And we know very well the police cannot serve a legal warrant within the or inside the House without the permission of the House. Clear? When the police has to arrest somebody inside the House, even outsider, they must get the permission of presiding officer. It is nothing but the decorum of the House. Decorum must be maintained. Clear? These are all collective privileges. Don't expect a question from this in the prelims. Then individual privilege. Second point, right, Article 105. No member is liable to any proceedings in any court for anything said or any vote given by him in the Parliament or its committees.